The city never slept. Its lights burned through the night like fireflies trapped in glass towers. But down in the dark alleys, away from the neon glow, the world was not beautiful. The streets were cold, wet, and dangerous. It was a place where the forgotten lived. And among those forgotten was a boy. He was no older than 16. His clothes were torn, his shoes had holes, and his stomach ached with hunger. For years he had survived by stealing scraps, running from guards, and sleeping wherever shadows gave him shelter. No one cared about him. To the city, he was invisible. That night, as rain fell in thin lines and the wind howled between broken buildings, the boy searched for food. He bent near trash bins, checked old boxes, and sniffed stale bread left behind. His hands shook with the cold. He almost gave up, when suddenly he heard something strange. A sound. A soft step, then another. It was light, careful and out of rhythm with the city's usual noise. He froze, his heart raced. The alleys were dangerous, and footsteps in the dark usually meant trouble. "Is someone there?" a soft voice asked. The boy turned sharply. In the darkness, a figure stood, a girl. She was small, fragile, and her clothes were dirty, torn as if she had run through thorns. Her hair was long and tangled, her skin pale under the streetlights. But what caught him most were her eyes. They were strange, shining faintly with a glow but unfocused, empty. She was blind. The boy stepped back. This was no ordinary stranger. He had seen many poor souls in the alleys, but never someone like her. She did not walk like the others. Even blind, she carried herself with a strange calmness, almost like she was used to being obeyed. "Please," she whispered, her voice trembling. I need help." The boy did not answer. In this city, trusting strangers was dangerous. He had learned that lesson too many times. But something in her voice stopped him. It was not just fear. It was desperation. She took a step closer, her hands reaching into the empty air. "If they find me," she paused, her lips shaking. "They will kill us both." The boy's eyes widened. Kill us both? His instincts screamed to run. He had nothing, no family, no safety, but he had life. And now this girl's presence threatened even that. Who was she running from? Why would helping her put him in danger? But he also saw her weakness. She could barely stand, her knees shaking. The cold rain slid down her face, mixing with tears. She was lost, helpless. And yet, there was something about her that did not belong to the streets. She looked like someone from a different world, a higher place. His hunger battled with his fear. He wanted to walk away. But then her hand brushed against a broken wall and she stumbled. She almost fell, her small frame trembling in the dark. Without thinking, the boy moved forward and caught her arm. Her skin was cold, too cold. She flinched at his touch, then held on tightly as if she had been waiting for someone. Anyone to save her. "Who are you?" the boy whispered. She tilted her head, listening to the rain. Then, in a low voice, she said, "No one you should know." Her words made no sense, yet her tone carried weight. It was the kind of voice that held secrets. Secrets that could destroy lives. The boy felt his chest tighten. He should not get involved. But his hand still held her arm and he could not let go. Suddenly a sound broke the silence. Distant shouts. Heavy boots striking the ground. Lights flashing at the far end of the alley. Someone was searching. Her grip on his arm grew stronger. "Please," she whispered again. "Hide me." The boy's heart pounded. This was madness. He could run now and save himself. But if he left her, she would not survive the next minute. He looked at her glowing, blind eyes, and for some reason he did not understand. He pulled her with him into the shadows. They hid behind broken crates, their breaths shallow. The lights grew closer, voices sharper. Men in dark armor walked through the alley, their weapons ready. "She can't be far," one of them growled. "Find the girl." The mark must not fall into the wrong hands. The boy froze. His blood turned cold. The girl squeezed his hand. In that moment, he realized he was caught in something far bigger than hunger or survival. This girl was no ordinary runaway. She carried danger, power, and secrets that could get them both killed. But it was too late now. He had chosen to help her, and nothing would ever be the same again. The night grew colder. The boy and the strange blind girl sat hidden in the dark corner of an abandoned building. Outside, the armored men's footsteps slowly faded away, their voices echoing until silence returned. But silence did not bring peace. The boy's heart still pounded and his hands were shaking. He looked at the girl. She sat close to him, breathing softly, her glowing eyes staring at nothing. Her face was pale and her lips were dry. She looked like someone who had not eaten in days. "Who are they?" the boy whispered, his voice sharp with fear. The girl turned her head toward him. Her sightless eyes did not move, but it felt like she was looking into him. "Hunters," she said in a low voice. "They will not stop until they find me." The boy clenched his jaw. He did not want to be a part of this. He was just a homeless boy. He was not a fighter, not a hero. He only wanted food, warmth, and a place to sleep. Helping her was dangerous, and he knew it. But still, when he saw her trembling hands, his heart softened. She was blind, fragile, and yet there was something strong about her. Something strange. He reached into his torn bag and pulled out a piece of dry bread, the last food he had stolen earlier that day. It was not much, but he held it out to her. "Eat," he said, almost angry with himself for sharing. Her lips curved into a faint smile. She took the bread with careful hands, as if she had not been given kindness in a long time. She ate slowly, each bite small, her expression calm. "Thank you," she whispered. The boy looked away, embarrassed. No one had ever thanked him before. People only shouted at him, cursed him, or chased him away. Hearing those two words felt strange. For a while, they sat in silence. The rain outside softened, and the city's lights blinked faintly through broken windows. The boy studied her, trying to understand why she was here. She was not like the other beggars or lost souls of the streets. Her voice was soft, but her words carried a weight like someone who had been taught to command. Finally, he asked, "Why are they after you? What did you do?" The girl stopped chewing. Her hands lowered to her lap. She did not answer right away. Then slowly she said, "It is not what I did. It is what I am." The boy frowned. "And what are you?" She turned her face toward him again, her glowing eyes reflecting faint light. "A danger," she whispered. "And a promise." The boy's skin prickled. Her words made no sense, yet they filled the air with something heavy, something that made him uneasy. Before he could speak again, the girl reached out. Her hand brushed his arm and she held on lightly. "You should leave me," she said. "If they know you helped me, they will come for you too. And when they come, they do not forgive. They do not spare." The boy almost pulled his arm back. Part of him wanted to do exactly what she said. Leave her behind. Walk away, forget this night. He could return to his life of stealing and hiding, simple survival. At least that way he would stay alive, but another part of him could not let go. He had spent years alone, unwanted by anyone, and now here was someone who needed him, not for his strength, not for his skill, but simply because he chose not to abandon her. "I'm not leaving," he muttered. "Not yet." The girl tilted her head, surprised. A small smile touched her lips again, though sadness lingered in her expression. They stayed together through the night, hidden in the old building. The boy gave her water from a broken bottle he kept. She drank with care, whispering thanks each time. In return, she told him small pieces of her story, not enough to explain everything, but enough to deepen the mystery. "I was born far from here," she said softly, her voice steady even in weakness. "In a place where stars shine brighter than the city's lights. But even there, shadows followed me, shadows with sharp claws and long memories." The boy listened, though he did not understand. Her words painted pictures of a world far greater than the alleys he knew, a world of power and fear. When dawn came, the first rays of light slipped into the broken windows. The boy stretched his tired arms. The girl sat still, calm, as if waiting for something. "They will search again today," she said, "and they will come closer." The boy's stomach twisted. He wanted to ask who she really was, why her eyes glowed, and why hunters searched for her with such fury. But before he could speak, she touched her arm sleeve, pulling it back slightly. The boy gasped. On her pale skin, strange glowing marks twisted and shimmered like living fire. Symbols he did not recognize burned faintly as if they were alive. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "This is why. This is what they want." The boy stared, his mind racing. This was no ordinary girl. She carried something far beyond his world, something dangerous, something powerful. And now, by helping her, he was part of it. The morning sun slipped through cracks in the ruined walls, painting lines of light across the dusty floor. The boy's eyes were wide as he stared at the girl's arm. The glowing marks moved faintly across her skin, shifting like rivers of fire trapped beneath the surface. He had never seen anything like it. What is that? He whispered, his voice trembling. The girl pulled her sleeve down quickly, hiding the marks again. Her face was calm, but her fingers shook. It is nothing you should have seen. Nothing? The boy snapped, his fear making him bold. Those men are hunting you. You say they will kill us both. And now I see your skin is glowing with something. Don't tell me it is nothing. The girl lowered her head. Her blind eyes seemed to glow brighter in the dim light. For a long moment she said nothing. Then in a soft voice she answered, It is a crown. And it is a curse, the boy frowned. Her words made no sense. A crown? You're no queen. You're just... He stopped. He wanted to say, just a lost girl, but the marks told him otherwise. She was not ordinary. She was something far more dangerous. The girl tilted her head toward him. These marks are not just symbols. They are proof of who I am, proof of blood that I did not choose. Blood? The boy asked, confused. Yes, she whispered. The blood of a man feared across the stars. The boy's heart pounded. He lived on scraps of rumor and street talk. He had heard of powerful gangs, smugglers, warlords who ruled in shadows. Was she connected to them? Her next words froze him. I am the daughter of a galactic crime lord. The boy's mouth went dry. He pulled back slightly, his chest tight. The daughter of a crime lord? He thought she was a victim, maybe a runaway slave or a lost child. But this was far bigger. You're lying, he said, though his voice was weak. If that was true, you would not be here, hungry and lost. The girl smiled faintly, but it was a sad smile. Do you think power keeps us safe? Do you think riches protect us? My father rules with fear. His enemies are endless. His allies are snakes. To him, I'm not a daughter. I am a piece on a board, a weapon, a tool. And when I refused to play his game, I ran. That is why they hunt me. That is why you should run too. The boy swallowed hard. The weight of her words pressed on him. He wanted to leave. He wanted to forget he ever saw her. But something held him there. Maybe it was the sadness in her voice or the way her hands trembled even though she tried to stay strong. He shook his head. If you're so important, why can't you protect yourself? Why are you blind? Her face grew still. My father did this, she said quietly. He thought it would teach me obedience. But blindness is not weakness. I hear more than others. I feel more than others. And I know that you are not like them. The boy's chest tightened. No one had ever said such words to him. No one had ever looked past his ragged clothes, his dirty hands, his life of stealing. Yet this strange alien girl, blind and hunted, spoke as if she saw something in him that even he could not see. Before he could answer, the sound of footsteps echoed outside. Heavy, metallic, steady. The boy froze. He peeked through a crack in the wall. The hunters were back. 5 of them moved through the alley, scanning every corner with glowing visors. Their weapons gleamed in the sunlight. One of them spoke into a device, his voice sharp. She's near. The marks always leave a trace. Find her. The boss wants her alive. The girl's hand gripped the boy's arm. They are closer, she whispered. If they catch me, you will die too. Leave me now. The boy looked at her pale face, her glowing eyes, the fear hidden beneath her calm voice. He should run. He should save himself. But instead he whispered back, No. We run together. Without waiting, he pulled her to her feet. They slipped through the back of the ruined building, into narrow alleys only street kids knew. The boy's heart raced as he guided her through twists and turns, avoiding the hunters' patrols. The girl stumbled often, but she never complained. Each time the boy caught her, steadying her before moving again. He was surprised at his own courage. Why was he risking his life for her? He did not know, but he could not stop. Finally, they ducked into a hidden tunnel under a collapsed bridge. The air was damp and smelled of rust, but it was safe for now. The girl sat down, breathing hard. The boy crouched beside her, his chest heaving. You are foolish, she said softly. Why risk everything for me? The boy wiped sweat from his face. Because no one ever risked anything for me, he replied. The girl was silent for a moment. Then slowly she reached out and touched his hand. Then you are braver than most kings, she whispered. The boy felt a strange warmth spread in his chest. But outside, the hunters' voices grew louder, echoing through the alleys. The chase was not over. It was only beginning. The tunnel was damp and smelled of rust, but for a short while it gave them shelter. The boy leaned against the wall, catching his breath. His chest rose and fell quickly. his heartbeat still racing from the run. Beside him, the alien girl sat quietly, her glowing eyes half closed, her pale hands resting on her knees. For a moment, the boy thought they might be safe. But safety never lasted long on the streets, and with her, danger was always near. A sudden crackle of static filled the tunnel. The boy stiffened. He recognized the sound, radios. Voices echoed faintly. "She's close," one hunter's voice said. "The scanners show a trace of the mark." "Spread out. Block every exit," the boy cursed under his breath. He turned to the girl. "We can't stay here." "They're coming," she nodded, calm even in the face of danger. "Then you must guide me." He grabbed her hand and pulled her up. Her fingers were cold but strong. Together they moved deeper into the tunnel, their footsteps splashing through shallow water. Every sound echoed, threatening to give them away. Behind them, heavy boots marched closer. The hunters were entering the tunnel. Their lights cut through the darkness, sweeping side to side like blades. The boy's mind raced. He had survived years on the streets, but never against soldiers like these. Still, he knew the alleys, the tunnels, the broken veins of the city better than anyone. That was his only advantage. "Stay low," he whispered, "and keep close." They crawled through a narrow passage, the stone scraping against their arms. The girl followed without complaint, her blind eyes staring straight ahead as if she trusted him completely. That trust made his chest tighten. No one had ever trusted him before. They slipped out into another alley, but the hunters were already there. Two armored figures stood at the far end, their visors glowing red. One of them raised his weapon. "There!" The voice roared. "The girl!" The boy's blood froze. Without thinking, he pulled the girl back, ducking behind a pile of broken crates. A sharp burst of light struck the wall, sending sparks flying. "They'll kill us," the boy hissed. "They want me alive," she whispered calmly. "But you—" "They will not hesitate." Her words sent a chill through him. If they caught her, she would be captured. But if they caught him, he would be executed without thought. "Then we don't get caught," he muttered. He scanned the alley. A ladder clung to the side of a building leading to the rooftops. It was risky, but it was their only chance. "Climb," he said. The girl tilted her head. "I cannot see." "Then trust me," he snapped. "Hold on. Don't let go." He guided her hands to the ladder. She gripped the metal tightly, and step by step he helped her climb. His own hand shook as he followed close behind, the hunter's footsteps pounding below. Another blast struck the crates, exploding into fire and smoke. The boy coughed, his eyes stinging, but he forced himself upward. At the top, the city opened wide before them. The rooftops stretched like a maze of stone and steel. Smoke rose from chimneys. Neon lights blinked far below, and the sky was painted red by the rising sun. The girl stumbled as she stepped onto the rooftop. The boy grabbed her hand, pulling her forward. "Run," he urged. Together they raced across the uneven roofs, jumping gaps, sliding across wet tiles. The hunters followed, their armored boots crashing loudly behind. Laser fire streaked past, burning holes into walls and chimneys. The boy's lungs burned. His legs ached. But he kept going, pulling the girl along. Her blind eyes stayed steady, her breathing calm even as chaos surrounded her. At last, they ducked behind a tall vent, gasping for air. The boy peered over the edge. The hunters were spreading out, scanning every rooftop. They were like wolves closing in on prey. "We can't outrun them forever," the boy whispered. The girl turned her face toward him. "You have already done more than anyone else would. You could leave me now. Save yourself." The boy's eyes narrowed. "I already told you I'm not leaving," she smiled faintly. "Then you are bound to me now. And when they catch us, you will share my fate." The boy said nothing. He knew she was right. But something inside him refused to abandon her. Maybe it was because he saw himself in her. Alone, unwanted, hunted by forces too big to fight. Before he could speak again, a shadow fell over them. A hunter landed on the roof, his armor gleaming, his weapon aimed directly at them. "There you are," the hunter growled. The boy's heart stopped. He had no weapon, no strength to fight. He stood frozen, shielding the girl with his body even though it was useless. But the girl's voice cut through the air, calm and sharp. "If you touch him, you will regret it," the hunter laughed. Bold words for a blind little heir. Her glowing eyes shone brighter, the faint marks on her arms flickering through her sleeve. The boy stared in shock. Was she doing this on purpose? The hunter stepped forward, and then the rooftop shook. Something powerful pulsed from the girl's body, a wave of light that cracked the air. The hunter staggered, his weapon falling from his hands. Sparks flew across his armor as he dropped to his knees, groaning in pain. The boy's mouth fell open. He had no words. The girl, still blind, still fragile, whispered, "The mark is not only a curse, it is also my weapon." The boy's world shifted again. She was not helpless. She was dangerous, more dangerous than he could ever imagine. And the hunters were still coming. The rooftop was quiet after the blast of light. The hunter lay on the ground, groaning, his armor sparking as if fire burned inside it. The boy stared at the alien girl, his mouth open, his breath caught in his chest. He had thought she was helpless, blind, weak, someone who needed him to survive. But now, after what he had just seen, he was not sure anymore. Her glowing eyes were turned downward. Her pale hands trembled, the faint light on her arms fading. She looked exhausted, as if that single wave of power had stolen every ounce of her strength. The boy finally found his voice. What did you just do?" She did not answer at first. Instead, she sat slowly on the rooftop, her breathing heavy. Her voice, when it came, was soft and heavy with sorrow. "You saw what I am, what I cannot hide." The boy knelt in front of her, his eyes still wide. "You nearly destroyed him without even touching him. No blind girl can do that. What are you?" She lifted her face toward the rising sun. The light caught her features, making her glow like something not of this world. "I told you before," she whispered. "These marks are both a crown and a curse." The boy clenched his fists. "Stop speaking in riddles. Tell me the truth. I risked my life for you. I need to know." Her lips pressed together. For a long moment she was silent. Then she spoke words that would change everything. "My father is the lord of the Black Syndicate, the most feared crime empire in the galaxy." The boy's heart thudded hard in his chest. He had heard whispers about the Black Syndicate, stories told in hushed voices by thieves and smugglers on the streets. A syndicate so powerful even governments bowed their heads in fear. Their wealth was endless. Their power stretched across planets. Their cruelty had no limits, and now the girl sitting before him was the daughter of its ruler. "That's impossible," the boy muttered. "If that's true, then why are you here? Why are you running in the dirt like the rest of us?" Her expression grew bitter. "Because I am not a daughter. To my father I am only a weapon. These marks are proof of my bloodline, proof that I am heir to his throne. He gave me this power, and he cursed me with blindness so that I would never forget who owned me." The boy's stomach twisted. Her father had blinded her. The thought made him sick. "I refused him," she continued, her voice trembling though she kept her head high. "He wanted me to become his tool, to lead armies, to keep his empire alive. But I ran. I ran because I will not be part of his darkness." The boy felt a storm inside him. He wanted to believe she was just a lost girl. But now he saw the truth. She was heir to the most feared man in the stars. "Do you understand now?" She asked quietly. "That is why they hunt me. That is why anyone who helps me is marked for death. They will never stop. And you, by staying with me, you have already chosen your side." The boy stared at her. The weight of her words crushed him. He thought of all the nights he had spent alone, stealing scraps to live. He thought of how no one ever noticed him, how no one ever cared. Now somehow he was standing beside the daughter of a galactic warlord. He could run. He could leave her now and save himself. But when he looked at her, so small, so fragile, and yet carrying a strength greater than anything he had ever seen, his decision was already made. "I don't care who your father is," he said firmly. "I don't care if he rules the stars. You're here. You're hunted, and I won't leave you." Her blind eyes shimmered with light. For the first time, her calm mask cracked. A tear slipped down her cheek. "You are a fool," she whispered. "But you are the only fool who ever stood by me." Before the boy could reply, a shout echoed from below. The other hunters had found the building. Weapons clattered, voices barked orders. "They're coming," the boy said, his voice sharp. The girl nodded, wiping the tear from her face. Her calm returned, but her hand reached for his. She gripped it tightly, her skin still cold. "Then we run again, until the stars themselves cannot find us." The boy pulled her to her feet. Together they crossed the rooftop, their shadows stretching long against the morning light. Behind them the hunters stormed upward, weapons ready. The boy knew he had chosen his fate. He had chosen to stand beside the blind heiress of a galactic crime lord. And now, no matter what happened, there was no turning back. The rooftop stretched before them like a maze of stone and steel. The boy pulled the girl along, his lungs burning with every step. Behind them, shouts filled the air. The hunters were climbing, their boots pounding on ladders, their weapons clicking as they prepared to fire. The boy's mind raced. Every path was dangerous. Every corner could lead to death. And yet he could not let go of her hand. "Why are you doing this?" the girl asked suddenly, her voice calm even as they ran. "Why do you stay?" Her words hit him harder than the fear of being caught. He wanted to answer, but his throat felt tight. Why was he staying? Why risk everything for someone he had only just met? They ducked behind a chimney, hiding for a brief moment. The boy's chest rose and fell quickly. His heart thundered. "I don't know," he admitted at last, his voice sharp. "Maybe because no one ever stayed for me. Maybe because I know what it's like to be thrown away. And maybe—" He paused, his fist tightening. "Maybe I'm tired of running only for myself." The girl turned her face toward him, her blind eyes glowing faintly. For the first time, she looked shaken. Her lips trembled as if she wanted to say something but couldn't. "Then you are braver than you believe," she whispered. Before the boy could reply, a blast struck the wall behind them. Stones shattered, dust filling the air. The hunters had spotted them again. "Move," the boy shouted, pulling her forward. They ran across another roof, leaping over a wide gap. The boy landed hard, his knees stinging. He turned quickly, steadying the girl as she followed. Even blind, she moved with strange grace, guided by his voice, his hands. But the hunters were relentless. Shots of red light streaked past, burning holes into the roof. Smoke and sparks filled the air. Finally, they slid down into a narrow alley between tall towers. The boy pressed his back against the wall, gasping for breath. The girl stood close beside him, her hand gripping his tightly. "They will never stop," she said softly. "You know this. You could leave me now. If you walk away, they may spare you." Her words sliced into him like a blade. Walk away. Live. Save himself. For a moment, the boy closed his eyes. He thought of his life. The endless nights of hunger, the cold streets, the stares of people who never cared. He thought of all the times he had been nothing but a shadow in a world too busy to notice him. Alone, invisible, unwanted. But then he thought of her. The way she smiled faintly when he shared his bread. The way she trusted him even though she could not see him. The way she admitted her pain, her truth, her fear. If he left her now, she would be taken, used, broken, and he would return to being no one. His eyes snapped open. His decision was clear. "No," he said firmly. "I won't leave you, not now." "Not ever." The girl's lips parted in surprise. A single tear slipped down her cheek, shining in the dim light. "You are a fool," she whispered again, but her voice was shaking. "And yet—" "You are the only one I have." The boy nodded, gripping her hand tighter. "Then we fight together." The sound of boots grew louder. The hunters were closing in, their voices sharp, their weapons ready. The boy's stomach twisted with fear, but he forced himself to stand tall. He was just a homeless boy. Weak. Small. But at that moment he felt something stronger burning inside him. The girl raised her head, her glowing eyes steady. "If we are to fight, you must trust me as I have trusted you." "What do you mean?" the boy asked quickly. "The marks," she said, lifting her sleeve. The glowing symbols shimmered faintly, alive with hidden fire. "They respond to choice. To will. Alone, I am weak. But if you choose me, if you truly stand with me, they will awaken." The boy stared at her arm, his chest tight. Was this true? Could his choice really give her strength? The footsteps grew closer. Shadows fell across the alley. The hunters were nearly upon them. The boy clenched his fists. His fear screamed at him to run. But he looked at her and he remembered his words. "I'm tired of running only for myself." He stepped forward, placing his hand firmly over hers, over the glowing marks. "Then I choose," he said. His voice was firm, unshaken. "I choose you." The marks blazed like fire, flooding the alley with light. The hunters shouted in confusion, shielding their eyes. The girl's body trembled, but her face lifted high, her blind eyes glowing brighter than ever before. Power surged through her, a storm of energy that shook the ground beneath them. The boy felt it too, flowing through him, filling him with strength he never knew he had. The girl's voice rose, no longer weak, but commanding. "Then we fight together." And as the hunters charged, the air burned with light. And the choice he made turned a homeless boy and a blind heiress into something far greater than either had ever been alone. The alley shook with light. The glowing marks on the girl's arm blazed like fire, spreading across her skin in patterns that looked alive. The boy held her hand tightly, and for the first time in his life he felt something greater than fear. He felt strength, not from himself but from the bond between them. The hunters staggered back, shielding their visors from the sudden brightness. One shouted orders, another fired blindly, but the shots dissolved in the air before they could strike. The girl stood tall, her blind eyes burning with light, her voice ringing through the chaos. "You cannot take me," she declared. "Not while he stands with me." The boy swallowed hard. He was still just a homeless boy, weak and hungry, but now he stood beside her like a shield. The power that flowed through her marks touched him, filled him with fire. For the first time he believed he could fight. The hunters charged. Weapons flashed, boots thundered against the stone. The boy braced himself, pulling the girl back as the first soldier lunged. But before the blade could reach them, the girl raised her hand. A wave of force exploded outward. The hunter was thrown back like a rag doll, his armor crashing against the wall. Sparks flew. The others hesitated, then attacked together. The boy ducked, dragging the girl to the side, their bodies narrowly avoiding a stream of red fire. He coughed from the smoke, but he did not let go of her hand. "Together," the girl cried. The boy nodded, though she could not see. He tightened his grip, and again the marks flared brighter. The light wrapped around them both, a shield of glowing energy. The next blast from the hunters struck the shield and shattered into sparks. The hunters shouted in anger. "She's too strong. Call for reinforcements." The boy's chest tightened. Reinforcements meant more soldiers, more danger. They couldn't hold out forever. They needed to escape. "Is there a way out?" he asked quickly. The girl turned her face upward as if she could see beyond the city. "There is a ship," she whispered, "hidden at the edge of the docks. I left it there when I escaped. If we reach it, we can leave this world behind." The boy's heart pounded. A ship, a way out. He had never dreamed of leaving the city, let alone the planet. For him, survival had always meant tomorrow's meal, tomorrow's shelter, but now escape to the stars. "Then we fight our way there," he said firmly. The girl nodded. Together they moved, darting through the alley as the hunters regrouped. Blasts of fire rained around them, sparks lighting the shadows. The boy guided her through twisting streets, his memory of every corner, every ladder, every hidden path keeping them one step ahead. Finally, the scent of salt filled the air. The dock stretched before them, endless and cold. Cranes stood tall like giant skeletons, and ships rested in silence. Among them, hidden under tarps and shadows, was a sleek vessel marked with strange symbols. "There," the girl whispered. But between them and the ship stood the hunters, dozens now blocking the way. Their leader stepped forward, his armor darker than the rest, his voice sharp like steel. "Daughter of the Syndicate Lord," he called. "You cannot run forever. Return now and your life will be spared. Resist and the boy dies first." The girl froze. Her grip on the boy's hand tightened. Her blind eyes glowed faintly, but sorrow filled her face. The boy looked at her. "Don't listen," he said quickly. "They're lying. If you go back, you'll be nothing but his prisoner. You told me yourself." Her lips trembled. "If I fight, you will be killed." The boy shook his head. "If I die helping you, at least I'll die choosing something. For once in my life, I'll matter." Her tears glimmered in the light of the rising sun. Then her face hardened. She stood taller, her voice carrying strength the boy had never heard before. "Then hear me," she shouted to the hunters. "I am not a weapon. I am not my father's pawn. I am his heir, and I choose my own path." The marks on her arms flared like fire, brighter than ever before. The air shook with energy. The hunters faltered, their weapons trembling in their hands. The boy gripped her hand tighter. Together they stepped forward. The power surged out, a storm of light that swept across the docks. Hunters were thrown aside, their weapons shattered, their armor cracking under the force. The leader tried to stand, shouting in rage, but the girl raised her hand and released one final wave. His body flew back, crashing against the steel containers, silent at last. The battlefield fell quiet. Smoke curled in the air. The hunters lay scattered, defeated. The boy's chest heaved. His legs shook with exhaustion, but they were still alive. Together. The girl turned toward him, her blind eyes glowing softly now. Calm. "You gave me strength," she whispered, "and you gave me choice. I will never forget this."
They walked to the hidden ship. The boy helped her climb aboard, his heart racing as the engines hummed to life. The ship lifted slowly, the city shrinking beneath them. As the stars opened before them, the girl placed something in his hand, a small crystal key, glowing faintly. "Keep this," she said. "When I return to claim my throne, you will have a place beside me." The boy stared at the crystal, his eyes wide. For the first time in his life, he felt hope. The ship rose higher, leaving the world behind. The boy looked out at the endless stars. He was no longer just a homeless shadow. He was part of something greater. And the galaxy had just gained an heir who chose freedom, guided not by fear, but by trust.